News OK's Press Row with the Oklahoman's Barry Tramel and Jenni Carlson is powered by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'.
I'm Barry Tramel, and deciphering the new 68-team NCAA bracket is not that difficult.
We think we've got some easy winners coming through some of these brackets. From the Opopka studios in Oklahoma City, you're watching the Press Row. I'm Jenni Carlson. Press Row is sponsored by Dunkin' Donuts. Barry, for all the talk about parity in college athletics, not great teams, I've got 3 number 1 seeds coming through their regions, looking at it going, you know what, these brackets don't look like they're going to cause that much problem, but there's definitely some intrigue in some of these brackets.
Well, there is, and we talked all year about this is not a great year in college basketball for super teams, and when you get to the bracket, then all of a sudden that means the favorites more than likely will advance. Now, the thing to remember is don't be misled by name brand. Somebody last night was talking about the great power of the East. Well, when you got Kentucky and Syracuse at 4 and 3 seeds, hey, this is an inferior Kentucky team to what we've seen. This is an overrated Syracuse team at number 3. The East is not that great. Be careful about that kind of thing. I go to the Southwest where we've got Kansas starting out in Tulsa, then going down to San Antonio. I think the Jayhawks have a good chance of advancing. The one regional that to me looks very weak, and we talked about this, is that Southeast regional. Pitt's the number 1 seed. You got to like the Panthers. I went all the way down to number 10, Michigan State, to find a team I could put in the Final Four. So I think the Southeast is probably definitely the weakest.
Well, the 3 number 1s that I have making the Final Four are Kansas. You've got Ohio State. I don't have Duke making it out of the West. I'm going to go with the 3 seed UConn there. But I also like Pittsburgh coming out of the Southeast. But you look around and you say, this is a year when you think some lower seeds could really jump up. And I was looking at the East Regional and trying to decipher if there would be first round upsets. I have no lower seeds winning a first round game. Now it'll probably happen because there are always upsets. But even looking at that 8-9 game between George Mason and Villanova, I like George Mason. They've had a really nice year. This is a team that went to the Final Four a couple years ago. They've got a lot of the guys that were recruited in the wake of that Final Four that are now on this team. So there's a regional that you would say maybe it should be a little bit tougher, but I don't even see any upsets there, Barry. I think you could see several 1 seeds get there, but I'm intrigued by your 10 seed. Why do you like Michigan State so well?
Well, there's several things I live by. You drive 5 miles over the speed limit, drink a root beer a day, whether I need it or not, and pick Michigan State in the month of March. The Spartans always do well. Your man Tom Izzo always produces. He made the Final Four last year with a so-so team. I just think I like Michigan State every year in March Madness. I tell you, I think what this bracket's going to do, though, is put a lot of teams sort of on the bubble in the tournament. They're sort of going to be under the gun after all the criticism of, say, Virginia Commonwealth and I can't even remember who the other team is. They took Alabama Birmingham, for crying out loud. These teams you can't even remember. So, but also Georgia getting in, even though they're very similar to Alabama, and Alabama beat Georgia. A lot of teams going to be under the gun to perform in this tournament, and with the extra games in Dayton, it gives teams a chance to sort of make amends for getting into the tournament. But to me, like I said, I think it's a watered down version of what we've seen in years past.
Well, we've said it here on the Press Row before. Thank goodness they didn't expand the tournament as far as they were talking about expanding it, because even with an extra, essentially 3 teams, we went from 65 to 68, we're talking about, wow, they were really looking for some teams that in other years might not have got in. But I tell you, a regional that didn't get a lot of a controversy is the 8 teams that are going to be in Tulsa. Now, this is a mixed region. You're going to have some teams from the Southwest region and some teams from the West, Kansas, Boston, UNLV, Illinois, and then you've got Arizona, Memphis, Texas, and Oakland. Not a controversy among that bunch. I think everybody sort of felt like those teams were where they belong. It's not a super sexy regional. You don't have sort of a sleeper team. We had several last year here in Oklahoma City. BYU came to town. Northern Iowa came to town. But who knows? Maybe an Illinois could jump up and challenge Kansas. We've seen Kansas have trouble in regional games in Oklahoma. We'll see. But I'm glad March Madness is coming to Oklahoma because, Barry, the one thing we do know about the bracket, there are no Oklahoma ties this year. Hey, stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.